With the blessings of God, the most merciful, this is Amir Sultan, QHSE Business International Chief Executive Officer, CEO. I hope you're following our videos. Today I will be talking on chapter number 277. Before I proceed to chapter number 277, I would like all of you to subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell button after being there. Moreover, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you so much. Chapter number 277 is about HSE implications for the temporary workplaces. Okay, so we will define what things need to be done and so on. So temporary workplaces are as important as the permanent workplaces, but most of the time and sometimes in few places it never taken so much importance as compared to the permanent workplaces. However, from the health and safety perspective, temporary workplaces need to be catered for the health and safety appropriately. For that, I will tell you today few of the things, and if you need more details, you can contact me. First of all, we have to provide proper PPEs to the temporary workplaces employees who are working over there. For example, safety shoes. Safety shoes need to be given to the employees who are working over there. If they are working for the mechanical sort of work, mostly they need to have a mechanical safety shoe. If they are linked with the electrical sort of work, they need to have electrical safety shoes. Then comes down the gloves. We have to provide them the safety gloves. Safety gloves according to the requirement of the job. So that, for example, we take example of 30-story buildings going on, construction is going on, and a lot of employees are working there. So we have to provide them these detail. For instance, safety gloves for the if the personnel is working for the fixing of electricity work in the temporary workplaces, then they need to have a 11 kV gloves. They need to have electrical safety shoes. Okay, and if the personnel is working on the mechanical sort of thing, then they need to have some other gloves which protect their hand when they are working for the mechanical sort of things. So now we move on to safety goggles. Safety goggles need to be provided according to the nature of the job and need to be rightly fit. Then comes up the safety mask. Safety masks need to be catered also according to the type of job. For example, if the personnel is having not exposure to a lot of dust over there, they can have a simple safety mask. But however, if they have a lot of dust is going on in that place and the excavation is going on throughout that, so that person need to have a filter mask so to make them safe and sound. Then we move on. We have then the personnel need to have a ear plug if there is a sound, or ear muff if the sound is very high. And if the personnel is working at height, they need to have a safety harness. They need to have a proper safety uniform for making them safe and sound. So on. So these are the things which I have told you about PPEs for the temporary workplaces. Then we have to barricade the services appropriately when whatever work is going on. We need to have a proper safety signs. Safety signs indicating what type of work is going on, what precautions people need to do when they are working on site. For instance, the reason being for this is then when the personnel is working there and they are busy in their work, sometimes they forego the things they need to follow appropriately on their work. So these safety signs basically indicate those people how they have to perform their work accordingly. Then we move on to lux level. We need to have a proper lux level for all the places where the temporary work is going on. This lux level need to be checked and verified time to time to make it sure that the personals are having the right lux level so that they don't have any hindrance or they strain on their eyes while they are performing their work. Now we move on to assembly point. Assembly points need to be made according to the size of the project. If the project size is big, we can have more than one assembly point. But the point is we need to have an assembly point. This assembly point indicate if any sort of emergency comes down, how the personals need to act, how they have to come to that point. So this assembly point is meant for this. For emergencies such as fire, flood, earthquake, bomb disposal, disease, the gas outage, flood, any type of emergency which are main emergencies, People should know how do they act and how they have to reach the assembly point. Moreover, fire wardens need to be nominated. These fire wardens need to evacuate every personnel working over there to the assembly point in case of emergency. Before that, the organization who's making that the project, which I'm telling you, for example, 30-story building, they need to have a fire drill, emergency drill. This emergency drill should be done at least once a month, or if can be done twice a month or thrice a month for the temporary work projects. For instance, if the temporary work project is for 2 years or 3 years or 1 year, they need to perform the emergency drill to make it really effective. And this emergency drill should be of different emergencies when the drills are done. For example, in case of fire anarchy, how the peoples need to evacuate themselves to the assembly point, how they will be performing, how they will be making them completely safe and sound in case of any fire emergency comes down during the work of the temporary workplaces. Then the HSE head, the personnel who is handling that temporary workplaces, need to ensure that he has to take the attendance roll call of all the personnels present in the premises of that temporary workplaces. This is a part of the emergency drill, and these things when done, it is very appropriate that that site is safe and sound in case of any emergency comes up. Now we move on. There we have to have proper fire extinguishers according to the place. For example, if the place is having some heavy electrical work is going on, we need to place a CO2 fire extinguisher. And if there are a lot of oil drums and things are present over there, we need to have a CO2 fire extinguisher. If the other works like simple construction and other things are going on, we can have, most of the time we have DCP fire extinguisher, dry chemical powder, which is good enough for a lot of emergencies. Then comes up, we have to have a AFFF fire extinguisher for any solid or liquid things present then, and the work is going on. So, and the water fire extinguisher can be used for anything related to the cardboard, papers and things are present over there. So these type of fire extinguishers, according to the requirement and the place the work going on, need to be placed over there. Moreover, we need to have a job card for the fire extinguishers which need to be checked and verified on regular basis to make it sure that if any sort of fire emergency comes down any time of the project, it can be handled appropriately. Further, we need to have a proper HSE team. HSE team need to be ensured that they cover all the employees, they cover all the places of the temporary workplaces in case of any ambiguity comes down, and for the proper implication of HSE throughout the project also. Then we move on. We need to have a first aid kit. First aid kit nowadays, BS 8599-I is very important. We can have that sort of first aid kit at different places in the project. For example, if the project is huge, like I will be giving an example of 30-story building, we have to have lot of first aid kits for that, because on each level the personnel must be working, and we have to cater those emergencies whenever that comes down for those type of work. Then we need to have a SOPs. We have to define the SOPs for the personnel working over there. For example, the SOP of HIRAC is very important. We need to do the HSE risk assessment. We need to perform the health and safety risk assessment before the commencing of the project, during the commencement of the project, and during completion of the project. And that HSE health safety risk assessment is mandatory part of it, and with all the control measures need to be applied. Then we have to have a SOP of incident accident control, and with that forms, so that they need to be filled up to combat any type of anarchy if comes down during the project. Then we need to have a SOP of operations management. We need to have a SOP of internal audit. We need to have a SOP of management review. We need to have a SOP of monitoring and management. So these types of SOPs, which are very important and imperative part of health and safety, need to be present over there. SOP of first aid is very important, SOP of PP is very important. These should be part of this system. And moreover, if the place where the temporary work construction is going on, there are different languages, people are present over there. Some people don't know about the English so frequently, and they are comfortable in other languages or some other languages personals over there. We should translate all the SOPs in that language and need to communicate to them. Moreover, we need to hand over one copies to them so that they should understand properly about the real essence of their SOPs to make them safe and sound for any sort of anarchy. Then we move on. We need to have a proper sort of evacuation emergency exit signs all over the 30 floors, so that people know where they have to go during the evacuation. Then comes on, we have to have a permit to work applied. Permit to work is applied in this scenario also. When the people are working at height, we need to issue the permit. When the things are going on, we need to have a permit to work for confined space, heavy electrical work, heavy machinery work, buried services, and so on. So permit to works are also applied thoroughly during the project whenever they are required to be. When the work is like that, when it has to use the permit to work, then the permit to work with the lotto needs to be applied appropriately. Now we move on. We need to have a proper MSDS if any chemicals are present over there. If any oils, chemicals, solvents, acid, paint, they are present, we need to have a MSDS. MSDS is Material Safety Data Sheet, which tells about the function and ingredients of that products, what is present in that product, how we have to transport them, how we have to store them, how we have to use them, how we have to act in case of that chemical or solvent or acid comes down and attached to the comes down to the body of the personnel, how they have to combat that emergency to make them safe and sound from the chemical, how we have to have fire extinguishers, first aid kit for those MSDS to make them safe and sound. Further, we need to have a secondary containment for all the chemicals which are in use in that site so that they remain safe and sound. We move on. We need to have emergency numbers placed down in different places at the temporary workplaces, so that any type of emergency comes up, those people can call that emergency to make them safe and sound. Then we move on. We need to have a proper trainings. These trainings should be part of the system in which the personals who are the HSE head and its team, they deliver the trainings required for that specific job, so that people should know that how they have to remain evacuate, how they need to remain safe and sound during during their work operations. These trainings should be regular part of the temporary workplaces also. Now we move on. We have to have proper legislations applied in the work site. For example, if any sort of legislation which is need to be applied for temporary workplaces, for that place need to be applied appropriately, and it should be validated by the HSE head with time to time. Then we need to calibrate the instruments and the gadgets which are present in the vicinity at least once a year or twice a year to make them that we get the right results. Moreover, we need to have a maintenance record of all the machines which are in use, so that in case of any fault or any things are maintained properly with accurately. So we have to have a preventive maintenance plans of all the equipment machines which are in use on the site on regular basis, so that we ensure that no machines, no equipment becomes obsolete or becomes unoperational during the work. Then we need to have a proper scaffolding process. In the scaffolding process, we need to check the scaffolding before it becomes operation, before it is fixed up. How? We need to have a proper checked, certified on scaffolding from the scaffolding inspector, that these scaffoldings are okay to use, okay to apply, okay to fix, to do the work. So when they are passed down, with the personals who are the profession of these scaffolding should fix those scaffolding accordingly, according to the guidelines. And after it is fixed down, the scaffolding inspectors need to check and verify that thing, so that it ensures that the scaffoldings are appropriate, and people can work on it with the toe boards, base plate, and so things, ledgers and these things. Then we move on. Then in case of any emergency comes down to scaffolding, for example, any incident comes down, weather condition becomes inappropriate, the scaffolding inspector needs to come down again, need to verify that scaffolding before it becomes again for the usage. This is very important and imperative. Then we have to have proper work instructions for all the processes present on the vicinity, for all the main places, so that people should know how they have to do the work accordingly with time to time. Then we move on. We need to have a proper medical health cards for all the employees working over there. For instance, if the personnel is busy in excavation most of the time during the day and during the week or month, that personnel need to be have 2 to 3 times that medical check of lungs and kidneys, to ensure that that person is not having any type of medical issue during the work. And if the person is not exposed to a lot of dust and this, there normal other medical checks need to be done. Overall, all the medical checks for all the employees need to be done on the regular basis, to ensure that every employee working on the temporary work site is safe and sound till the project is completed. There are so many more details. You can contact me for that. If you need more details, summary, analysis, reports, recommendation, you can contact me from anywhere in the world at +92 335 734 7400. And you can reach me on my another number at +92 314 639 7990. And you can reach me on emails at amirsultanrana@yahoo.com. Another email at amirsultanrana amirsultanrana digit 1 at gmail.com. And another email at contact@qhsebusinessinternational.com. And you can reach me on my company website at www.qhsebusinessinternational.com. Thank you so much.